All right, let's go ahead and get this party started. Why don't we? We've got a few folks in the chat already, which is super duper exciting. Let's turn off this and go ahead and get started. Oh my God, my cat is like on my foot right now and she's actively scratching my leg, but we are going to power through regardless. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Owl House weekly discussion live stream. I am joined once again by my good friend from across the pond. Oh gosh, I like put the pressure on myself to come up with a new intro every time, and now I actually am struggling to do it. But in any case, it's Tom from Curmudgeon Media once again. Tom, you want to say hello to the people?
Well, I mean, technically, I will always say something new. So as long as I'm saying something new, it is a new intro.
That's true. That is true. I can always count on you.
You never know what's going to come out of my mouth.
For better or for worse.
Could be something very insightful, but often it is just garble, and I will never apologize for that.
Nice, nice. Well, I appreciate having you here as always, bud. Welcome back to the discussion. We're going to be discussing more of the Owl House, the second special of season 3 for the future. We're going to keep today's stream a little bit shorter just because I have some stuff that I have to do today later. And also we have like a little bit less than about half of the special remaining to discuss, and we kind of have like the most stuff happening towards the end, right? So I figured let's like not rush it. Let's go ahead and split it into 2 streams. So today we're going to kind of be discussing this first chunk of the last act, and then next week we'll finish talking about everything else that we don't get to today. So that's oh my gosh. Sorry.
Don't die on stream.
I don't know why this happened.
Don't
I was going to say
stream.
That's the plan for today. Oh.
If you die on stream, I'm gonna be so mad. That'd be so inconsiderate.
It'd be really inconvenient, yeah. No,
so that's really inconsiderate. I'd be sat here trying to talk about the episode on my own.
That's the plan for today.
While your corpse is just sitting there.
Yeah, so we're not going to be finishing discussing the special today. We'll be saving that for next week. So just so y'all know, that's where we're at for today. But I forgot. Let me go ahead and say hi to everyone who's in the chat so far today. Magical is here. Hello, hello. No worries about missing the last stream. Glad that you're here today. Also, it looks like it's your birthday today. Happy birthday. Many happy returns. Hope you have a good day today. And thanks for joining us here on your birthday. Hope it's a good one.
We're going to make your birthday so bad.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
We're going to ruin it.
I
hope it's not early in the day for you.
Don't say that.
So we're not putting you off to a bad start.
Oh my gosh. No. You're going to have a great day. Also, Grace is here. Hello, hello. Ed is here as well. Robin is here as well. Went to go see Puss in Boots today and now eating snacks and playing Steven Universe Save the Light. That sounds like an amazing day. The Steven Universe games are super duper fun. So I hope you enjoy. Toon is here as well. Hello, hello. Got a lot to discuss today. Good. Yeah, String Bean is great. We love String Bean. Actually, it's funny because like I said, I don't know if we're going to be able to get to the second part of the last part of the special today. So I don't even know if we're going to get to String Bean in today's discussion or not. I kind of made the title before I realized how far in String Bean was. So we may or may not get to String Bean today, but we'll try our best. But in any case, there's still stuff that happens in between that we need to talk about. So, and also Shadow's here as well. Welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
String Bean's reveal is very funny because they take kind of a while to get to it.
Yeah.
And it's just like an orb. And I kind of looked at it and I went, oh.
Yeah, I feel like a couple people did that. Like a couple people saw the orb and they were like, wait, is this the Palisman? What's happening? They were like, so because they've never seen that before, right? We've never seen a Palisman like form or like whatever. Because like Luz is the only one who ever did an egg, right? So this is the only time this would ever happen. So yeah, I didn't expect that. That was a little strange. But yeah, I think a couple people were like, wait, is it just an orb?
I would have made it hatch into an egg.
just hatch it to another egg, a smaller egg.
Like when like a Pokemon egg hatches into an Execute.
Oh right, yeah.
Oh.
The egg hatches into Togepi, yeah.
And like that's how the episode ends. Like it hatches and it's just an egg, and they all just kind of like look at it blankly, and then it cuts to black, and there's no credits or anything.
There we go. Yeah, that's how the second special should have ended. Clickbait, not clickbait. We'll see. Yeah, so we probably won't get to actually String Bean today, but yeah, in any case.
Not clickbait.
Not clickbait. Anyway,
not clickbait. Gone wrong.
Gone wrong. Impossible.
Question mark, exclamation mark.
All right, let's go ahead and get right into it then. So where we left off last, we picked up Hootie from Odalia, and we are going off to go see Ida. We talked a little bit about like the paintings last time, or we talked a lot about the paintings last time. We talked kind of about what they could mean, what the collector's backstory could be. I feel like I don't have much to add to what we discussed last week. It seems like this Babby collector just wants to play, and the other collectors are the ones who actually want to kill off the Titans. It seems like there seems to be some kind of involvement with the Titan trappers at some point, because we saw some of the dudes like putting on the skulls and everything. So there's something going on there, but we aren't quite clear what the exact backstory is. Also, it's interesting that in one of the paintings there's 4 collectors, and in every other painting there's 3 collectors. So kind of like what the implications are there of like the timeline is just interesting to me. So this hallway, though, all the paintings are scratched up. And I think it's supposed to be implied that because Ida was in her Albeast form and when we captured her, right? So, but an interesting question that I have is, did the collector try to put the puppet spell on Ida and like turn Ida into a puppet, right? Because we saw the collector turn Lilith and Hootie into a puppet, and then now we see in this episode that Lilith is turned back into a human, so we know that like the spell could be reversed, right? So did Ida get like turned into a puppet and then reversed, or did she just like stay in, did her Albeast form essentially protect her from getting turned into a puppet? Because I feel like if these paintings are all going to be scratched up, right, that means that she wouldn't have been turned into a puppet. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking this, maybe this has no relevance whatsoever to the story and I'm just like talking about this just to talk about it. But I don't know, I find it kind of interesting to think about how the collector's magic works, and like, say the Albeast is something that was turned, like the Albeast is an entity that has had collector magic used already on it, right? So like the Albeast was turned into a scroll, right? Like a billion years ago or whatever. So does that mean that the Albeast can't be like double spelled on, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's
that's what I was thinking.
It's kind of an interesting thing to think about.
It's also possible that King bartered for them.
Right, yeah, King just bartering for them, which I think is how we got Lilith back, right?
I don't even know what that conversation would look like. I don't know how you barter with the collector. Like,
hey, buddy, can you not?
If you turn them back into people, I'll give you an extra hour playtime before bed.
Right?
Something.
Yeah, like some
I don't know what that looks
some
like.
pizza bagels or whatever.
I will get you the best damn pizza bagels.
Exactly. So we see all the coven heads, right? All the coven heads are turned into puppets, and they're all lined up, essentially there to guard Ida, guard the Albeast, right? And it's just interesting to me that like either the collector or like King specifically pulled out the coven heads to like be the guard here. I don't know if that was done for a specific reason or whatnot, but I just find that interesting.
The collector would know who the coven heads are.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because the collector is the one who colluded with Bellows to create the
draining spell. That's right. Spell. Yeah. That's true.
So he would have to be aware of the existence of the coven heads because they're the keys.
That's true. So yeah, I guess he does know who the coven heads are and put them in charge of guarding Ida. Yeah, exactly. Shadow an extra hour in the ball pit.
The tiniest ball pit that might have piss in it.
Oh no, don't say that. I really love how the characters are designed, like the puppet characters are designed when they get collector-fied, right? Because like they just get all these little subtle design changes. Like Darius has his hair like turned into these little stars and things like that. Like, I don't know, it's just clever. I like it. I think it's cute.
Yeah, it's like how the horrible Sonic thing that Plant Lady was wearing,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Awful Sonic costume that she had for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, did the end credits show the bartering? Okay, well, we're gonna have to take a look at that. Ida is here. She's being goofy. She's pretending to be a puppet, right? And she's like towing her feet over the line and activating the the Coven heads to kind of show us, right, that they're kind of robotically programmed at this point, right? Which is interesting. It's an interesting way the spell works. They kind of remind me of the Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics, the way that they move around.
I can't tell if that's a compliment or
not. I don't think it's supposed to be a compliment, but it's just what it reminded me of.
God, I can't wait to see a bunch of twitchy preteens make streams about this.
Right.
Overreact to these creepy puppets.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Not clickbait. So King, says you got to stop leaving your room. The collector still thinks you're in beast mode, right? So the collector thinks that Ida is still in the Albeast mode, but we know that, we've been secretly brewing the potion off on the side and curing ourselves. And we have this lingering shot here, right? King says, Ida, don't sneak out, and Ida is like, I know, I just like visiting Rain, right? Which, it's a sweet moment, of course. We know that Ida has a lot of feelings for Rain, right? So we it's a sweet moment. But this moment in particular was kind of interesting to me as I rewatched the special as well, because we're supposed to think of this moment lingering on Rain as like a sweet moment that Ida is like thinking about them. But to me, as I rewatched the episode, I don't know, this shot just felt very ominous to me, like the first time I watched it. And I was like, why does this shot feel so ominous, other than the fact that Rain and Darius in the background are literally lifeless puppets, right? Why does this feel so ominous to me? And then of course later on in the special we find out that Rain gets possessed by Bellows, right? And so I don't know, this just felt a little bit like foreshadowing to me for that. I don't know if that was intended or not, but just the way that it was just ominously lingering on Rain, that's kind of the way I saw that.
I feel like we can assume it was intentional.
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Does Bellows know about the dynamic between Rain and Ida?
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? I kind of that's something I definitely want to talk about as we get there, when we get to Rain actually being possessed by Bellows, because that was something that I didn't necessarily like the first time I watched it. The first time I watched the special, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I like that choice to make Bellows go into Rain. And I'll talk a little bit about why when we get there. But
I'm just wondering if that's something that Bellows is aware of.
Yeah, and I do want to talk a little bit more about that as we get there. Yeah,
Bellows obviously learns and vocalizes as well in the last special that possessing someone they care about seriously limits the damage that they can do in a fight.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Which is why I kind of wonder, was that intentional on his part?
Yeah.
In terms of scooping up Rain, as opposed to scooping up someone they don't give a shit about.
Yeah, totally.
Terra Snapdragon or Odalia, who all of them would kill without hesitation.
Right, yeah, exactly. So we get this quick little moment with Odalia that I kind of missed the first time I watched the special too, right? Where Odalia is lugging all of the puppets, right? She's breaking her back, trying to drag all these huge puppets across the ground. And then she sees the Coven heads, right? And then she gets this idea, right, to use the Coven heads to carry the puppets, and that's what eventually leads Rain to being able to get possessed, right? So just kind of a subtle moment here that I kind of missed the first time I watched it. It's oh yeah, this is where Odalia actually gets the idea to use the puppets.
I'm so for an Odalia redemption arc.
I know that you are. We'll see if it happens. I know that a lot of people are not really for that idea, but we'll see if it happens.
No, but people are wrong.
We haven't seen Alador the special at all. I don't know. Did he get turned into a puppet? Did we see him as a puppet somewhere and we just not notice? Because I don't remember seeing him.
I feel like Odalia isn't quite villainous enough for me to hate her. She's kind of a goofball.
She kind of followed the Kikimora route, right? And kind of turned into pathetic. A pathetic, yeah.
And I like it. I like the whole you'll come in handy. Oh, what, me? No, fuck off. Talking about him. Talking about this puppet over here. This lifeless animatronic. Yeah, I call me cliche, but I would have liked to have seen Ida with a robot arm.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been cool. Maybe she'll get one in the finale.
I wanted them to go full berserk.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
they've gone half berserk by giving her, by taking away the arm.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted them to go full berserk and replace that arm with a big metal thing with a cannon inside of it.
That'd be very cool. Come on, for the finale.
Which might have been may be pushing some copyright boundaries, but I don't care.
Oh, the Owl House has towed the line a couple times. So. So I love Ida and Lilith's new designs, though. I actually really, really am into them. I love that they both got short hair. We get like a kind of an image in the credits, right, of Ida cutting Lilith's hair, so we know that that's how that went down, which is really, really cute. Cutting her sister's hair with one hand, mind you, which is really funny. Kind of explains why it's such a mess like this. But we also see Lilith is, growing out her original hair, her natural hair color. It's definitely like the curly, wavy, messy kind of style that it is versus the like super straight style that we see her with, throughout the first couple seasons of the show.
That is the only time you could ever be caught saying the phrase super straight.
Yeah, for any of the Owl House characters, right? To describe them. Yeah.
Like the thing is that like characters changing emotionally is so often codified by like the hair changing.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I can't help but wonder if it's not just like an instinct for Dana Terrace to want to change how they look, because Dana Terrace is like an absolute fashion hound.
True. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And like that's something I really love that they kind of went hard on with like all of these specials, honestly, like the first two. And I imagine with the third one is that like they're really going hard on all the outfits, right? Like, with cartoons, it's so typical that the character just wears the same outfit for the whole show, right? And we did definitely get that.
Having a wardrobe full of the same t-shirt.
Exactly. That's kind of the gag, right? But no, we actually see like a ton of really cool outfits in this show, and in the specials as well. We're seeing like multiple outfits in one special. So it's just really cool to see that, because we know that that's definitely a strong suit for Dana. It's just fashion. But yeah, no, exactly what you said though, right? Like it is kind of important to note kind of Lilith's character journey up until this point, right? Like how much she's changed and grown and developed as a character, and like her hair really does signify that in a lot of ways, right? Like the fact that she's embracing her natural color and texture, and like the straight black hair was kind of like part of her mask that she wore as like the Emperor Coven head, right? Like that's kind of who she was. So yeah, I really love just her natural hair, and that she's going back to the red, and that it's curly and very cute. And I think it suits her. I really like it.
So what you're saying is she had to pretend to be straight.
Exactly. And we've all been there, right? Pretending to be straight during our working hours just to get through the day.
I have never done that.
Well,
I used to work in a largely right-wing dominated place, like retailer. And it got to the point where I would emphasize just to piss them off, because I was so sick of them. I was so sick of their shit.
Yeah.
I knew it bothered them. So I disagreed. Annoy people as much as possible.
That's also valid. That's also completely valid. And yeah, totally, Shadow. I completely agree. Dana's art on Twitter, she knows how to draw outfits, man. She knows how to draw the drip.
She also knows how to draw Columbo, and
that's right. She did do some Columbo fan art.
I really hope that makes people go off and watch Columbo, because there's not like, I'm pretty sure I think about Columbo at least once a week.
I kind of want to watch Columbo now.
Columbo is really good. Columbo, like, I'm not going to linger on this too long, but Columbo is the best TV detective, because he like defies all of the rules of what is expected of a TV detective, because he's just like a nice man. He's just like a scrungly nice man with an old dog, and everyone loves Peter Falk. He was a lovely man. He's a delight, and you're just happy to see him. Like, you're just like, oh, I want to hang out with this scrungly old man.
And like, Dana Terrace, like her art just suits Columbo so well.
Columbo suits all of us really deep down.
That's true. That's true.
Everyone loves Columbo. I don't know anyone who doesn't like Columbo. That would be just unreasonable. If somebody told me they didn't like Columbo, I would either tell them they're lying or I'd kill them.
You would just assume they were a shape-shifting alien, like just not human whatsoever.
They have to go. I would drown them while sobbing and whispering it's kinda this way.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, off of Columbo now. I do briefly want to talk about Ida's design though, because she got her hair cut as well, and her hair is kind of, sticking out in all these different directions. And it vaguely reminds me, it's reminiscent of her hair that we saw in the flashback when she first found King, if we remember. Like, her hair was kind of like spiky and sticking up in this similar way. So I don't know if this is supposed to be like kind of an intentional callback to that time, but I don't know, it just reminds me of that hairstyle. And it also vaguely reminds me of the hairstyle that we see Evelyn have, Caleb's witch GF, right? That we kind of see the silhouette of in the portraits and the paintings and stuff. So I don't know if that's also supposed to be maybe foreshadowing or something, but I don't know. It's
Evelyn
interesting.
Connection is what I was thinking of, but other than the Evelyn connection, which we can all agree upon, have you considered the possibility that she just wants to look more like Shadow the Hedgehog?
That could be it too.
Right? Because the fake Ida costume had a horrible Sonic.
Yeah.
Sonic. So you picking up what I'm putting down?
I am indeed. Yeah. So are we insisting that's Shadow the Hedgehog was turned into Ida's hair?
That's not exactly what I was saying. I was thinking more along the lines of like a cosplay.
Oh yeah, that works too.
I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm saying.
Shadow says that if we made a word bubble of our special streams, that scrunkly would be one of our biggest, most used words. And you know what? That's probably accurate.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I wouldn't say it, but all of the characters are so scrunkly.
They really are.
They're all just a bunch of mippies, and I didn't make the rules. I didn't make the rules, okay? I just calls it how he sees it.
Also,
and I sees it as a scrimblow.
When we see the scrimblow, we must acknowledge the scrimblow.
And those are the rules, okay? And if you don't like it, then tough titties. Tough titties.
A little Easter egg that we missed last time was on Hootie's little birdhouse toy version, the puppet version. He has a little shooting star and a pine tree on it, which is of course a reference to Gravity Falls, which is cute.
Oh man, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, on the little birdhouse. It's cute. And then this is interesting to me. So Lilith cries on Hootie, and like that is kind of enough to wake him up, right? At least give him this like bit of consciousness to allow him to speak and communicate. Which is,
it's like Pokemon the first movie.
It is kind of like Pokemon the first movie, right? Like, I don't know, like, be it you, hoot hoot, it be. It's a very cute moment between Hootsifer and Lulu. But I don't know, this is just an interesting moment to me. So it's kind of implied, right, that the teardrop is what kind of brought Hootie back to life, right? Because I don't know, this is again me like overthinking it and like just sort of reading into things that shouldn't be read into. But when I first watched the special, like for those of you who have watched previous streams before, you know that Tom and I have had our slight criticisms with the way that Ida and Rain's relationship had been portrayed in the show, and just kind of feeling like it needed a little bit more development, I guess is the nicest way I could put it, right? Or needed at least a little bit more screen time. And to me, I was like watching this for the first time, and I was like, I might have missed like the teardrop maybe exactly, because I was kind of like, is Lilith simply just like talking to Hootie and like beckoning him back into consciousness enough to bring Hootie back from the brink? And if so, if that's the case, does that mean that Ida just either didn't try talking to Rain and reaching them, or just like couldn't reach them by talking to them
It's
somehow.
a magical teardrop.
Yeah, so I have to assume it's the magical teardrop that brought Hootie back. But also, yes, that's true, magical, that Lilith and Hootie's relationship is a pure and true friendship.
Maybe it's the salt content of the tears.
Maybe it's the salt. Yeah, maybe it's just that simple.
Maybe that's what it is. Nothing magical at all. It's like, nah, it's salt.
Yeah.
Collectors don't like salt. It's their true weakness.
Yep.
Sprinkle them with the finest sea salt you can find.
Yeah. Or maybe it's what Robin said earlier in the chat. Like, maybe it's just because of Hootie and the way that he is, that he's able to kind of break through.
It's salt.
It's definitely the salt.
It's salt. It's see, the boiling isles is not really boiling, it's just very hot and it hasn't quite
exactly, yeah.
If you just add a few more degrees to the boiling isles, it'll boil right up. You'll have loads of salt. Don't worry about it. Just sprinkle them with salt. Problem solved. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. And then of course we get this amazing line which absolutely cracked me up. It's one of those like meta, not quite meta lines, right? Where Ida says, Hootie, you keep finding new and impressive ways to creep me out. Which is like classic Hootie, right? That's what he's been doing throughout the entire show so far.
Enigma. Unknowable.
Unknowable enigma. You gotta love him though. Didn't we say that there was
legally registered as a weapon of mass destruction?
Exactly. Did we say that there was a mistake with Hootie last time? Maybe that's what I was talking about. That
Shadow, I'm really sorry. I don't know what the heck that accent was. It was just an accent. It was just an accent.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I was referring to, like the whole thing with Rain and Ida. Because I don't know. Like, it's just interesting to me. Like, I guess Ida would not be the type of person to cry on Rain, right? Like, that just probably wouldn't have happened. But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to me. A Godfather impression. Maybe that's what that was.
Magical. Have you seen The Godfather? Have you seen The Godfather? That is not what he sounds like. That is not what he sounds like at all.
Yeah. So King is like, maybe there's something we could do, and Lilith and Ida are like, no, you're already putting yourself too much at risk. And this is kind of the problem with not having Ida in the last special, and also not really having Ida and Luz interact in the finale, the season 2 finale, that much either. Like, because they were separated, right? Like throughout the entire last episode of season 2. Because like this moment felt a little odd to me. I don't know. Maybe I have to go back and rewatch and kind of remember how Luz and Ida kind of left off, because King has this moment where he's like, I really miss Luz, and Ida says, I miss her too, but she's with her real family in the human world now, right? So was there a moment, was there did the way that we left Ida and Luz off kind of like with the guilt of like, was Ida feeling guilt too about having Luz in the Boiling Isles?
I don't know. I don't really know. It just felt odd. There's just missing pieces.
Yeah, it just felt odd to me to have Ida feel this guilt here. Like, it just felt a little. I don't know if it's like unnecessary for her character, because I honestly don't remember. I feel bad. I feel like I need to go back and watch.
I guess the way I kind of looked at it was she was just trying to sort of emotionally,
like, justify it to herself,
like emotionally come to terms with a situation where she thinks that she's never going to see Luz again, because as far as they know, the portal is destroyed and there's no way for them to get back. They don't know about the Titan blood in the human realm. They have no idea about it. So as far as these two characters are concerned, like,
she's gone forever.
Luz is gone, she's never coming back.
That's true. So maybe it's just her trying to just like make it okay for herself.
Yeah. And also, Magical, watch The Godfather Part 1 and 2, skip the third, it sucks. Part 1 and 2 are two of the best films ever made. They're really good. It's never too late to watch The Godfather. Those movies have aged like fine wine.
I have not watched them either, so I have to watch them.
We'll get to them. We'll get to them. We will. We're working our way through noir movies.
Exactly. We'll get there. So Lilith coming through and being like, what we really mean is that we're gonna defeat the Collector, right? And I like so Tom and I, we talked a little bit off stream as well about kind of our criticisms of this special and kind of what we wish we could have seen of it. And I do want to reiterate something that I said in the last stream as well too, right? Like, just because we're criticizing it doesn't mean we didn't enjoy it. Doesn't mean we don't love the show. Doesn't mean that we don't appreciate all the hard work that goes into creating something like this. But we criticize out of love, right? That's kind of our love language here. So
This show is very important to me. It kind of holds a very special position in my brain, and I particularly love Dana Terrace as a creator. I have so much love and respect for her as an artist.
Right.
Like, none of this is coming from a place of bad faith.
Exactly. So just want to reiterate that
the team is just inspiring to me.
Yeah.
For what they've created, creating anything at all. I said this in the first stream. Like, creating anything at all is a miracle, and it's so hard to do well. And like, I don't know if you guys have ever like sat down and tried to create something big, like more than just like a short story or an illustration, but actually try to create something structured.
Right.
That's hard. That's
it's
really
not
hard.
Easy. Yeah.
It's even harder to do well. I think what you got to look out for in media is not necessarily signs of flawless quality, because that, let's be real, that's once in a blue moon. You got to look for signs that the people making it have a heartbeat and that they care.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
because that's when you're really going to start to connect with something, which is what we're here to do.
Yeah. So all that being said, one of our main criticisms of the special that Tom and I have talked about off stream is the fact that Luce did not reconnect with Ida and King and Lilith and Hootie in this episode, right? Like, we would have liked to see that reunion happen in this special instead of being saved for the finale. Because they didn't reunite in this episode, it kind of feels like nothing happened, like nothing really progressed in this special other than the fact that Luce's talisman hatched, right? Like, that's really the only thing that happens, and Bellows comes back, right? Like, those are really the only two things that like move the story forward. And of course, like, not to say that like every single thing needs to move the story forward, but we're short for time at this point, right? Like,
we're pushing it.
We're really pushing it. We're pushing it down to the wire here, guys. And like, I don't know, like, I would have really liked to see, I mean, I do want to have a little bit of faith in the writers. Maybe there's a reason they decided to keep the reunion for the finale and not put it in this episode, but I don't know. It just felt like this episode would have been the time to do it, especially considering what I just said, right? The fact that Ida and Luce like haven't seen each other in so long, like at this point, like it would have been really good to see them kind of reconnect here. And like, I kind of thought that that's what was going to happen in this moment, right? Because like this episode does do the like the editing trick, right, where it's like the last line said in one scene kind of transitions over to what's going on in the next scene. So I kind of thought that that's what was going to happen here, where it's like Lilith says, at least Luce and her friends are far away from danger, right? And then cut to Luce being there or whatever, right? Which is kind of what it does, right? It cuts to them being in Hexside. But I don't know. I really would have liked to see the reunion in this special. And I kind of thought it was going to happen at this third act sometime.
Yeah, it was a big shame not to have that. The one thing I was really looking forward to was seeing Ida and Camila like actually interact for the first time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I would have liked to really see that too.
Which we did not get.
Yeah.
But, is what it is.
Yep. The Ratatouille ending monologue about criticism, I'm afraid I don't remember what that is.
Well, Ratatouille is like the opposite of The Incredibles, where The Incredibles accidentally propagates a philosophy of what's the word? Meritocracy.
Right,
and
yeah.
Ratatouille, made by the same director, does the opposite. Where it's like, no, like anyone can cook, like anyone can create. It's not, we shouldn't live in a world where what matters is this meritocratic idea of quality.
Yeah.
Or importance, or and what I believe Shadow is doing here is sort of responding to what I was saying about looking for
Got
looking
it.
not for quality, but looking instead for like a sign that this was made by a human being with a beating heart.
Got it. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. Grace asked what was my favorite part of the special. My favorite part was Camila, hands down. All the Camila parts, all the Camila scenes were the best. Absolutely.
I really loved the scene when Kikimora does like 45 uncut minutes of beat poetry.
You said Kiki Mora, and I was gonna be really skeptical for a second.
Miki.
Kiki Miki. Yeah,
it was really beautiful beat poetry, I have to say. It doesn't amount to anything. Like,
Camila saying Kiki Miki like almost makes having her in the episode worth it.
Camila's so cute.
I love her. I love her so much.
She's so squishy.
She's so squishy. All right, so Mytholomule opens up the secret room, talking about how hard it is to make something versus criticizing something. Yeah, exactly, absolutely. And Camila is the best mom. Yeah, that's
tricky, isn't it? Because like criticism is really important, and I am absolutely. I mean, I'm a critic. It's what I do. Like I think criticism is really important for a healthy media climate. And people who respond to negative criticism by claiming that criticism is itself bad are not helping. It's extremely unhealthy. Bad faith criticism is unhealthy and also is not helping. Yeah. So it's like,
and like harassment guised as criticism is not healthy.
Harassment guised as criticism. Like the character of Anton Ego speaks so much to a portion of criticism in general, be it media criticism or otherwise, where it's like coming from a place of wanting to feel superior, rather than coming from a place of trying to appreciate something. I really recommend a video called "We Have Forgotten Love," made by Ig Studio, if anybody gets the time, because that really perfectly captures kind of how we should at least frame looking at art. Even if it's something that we look at and it's like not necessarily for us, it's important to frame art in a particular way in our head. So I'd recommend people go and watch that video. It's pretty interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I've not heard of it. I need to check it out. Still don't like Matt for kicking Gus out of his club. Yeah, I would have liked to see, like, Matt was obviously he did a lot of great stuff in this episode. But he and Basha are kind of those characters, right, that are kind of a little bit there to show us the development of our main cast a little bit more, right? So yeah, it would have been nice to get like a little bit more. Maybe that would have been an episode right before the season got cut of like Gus and Bartholomew kind of like reconciling their past grievances.
By that you mean falling madly in love.
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean by it. A lot of people ship it, and I can see it. I see it. I think it's a cute ship.
He's like Bartholomew is a tsundere, like we know that.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, exactly. Which is what makes it so great. So Willow has a moment here as well, right? She sees the photo of her dad's, which we've seen before. We saw that in the season 1 episode. We see a lot of like these photos that are from the season 1. Like there's a lot of callbacks in this scene and like this whole Hexide section, right? We get all these memories, the Willow memories that we got from that episode, right? The Understanding Willow. We get the flyer derby pictures, which are really cute. Team strategist, stuff like that. And then the loose memories as well are here too, right? Like the loose Babby picture, which we love, and all that. So yeah, just really cute little callbacks to the earlier seasons.
Agreed.
But then Willow, of course, sees the pictures of her dad and she starts tearing up, but then she immediately shakes it off and is like, keep it in, right? This is a part of the arc that she's on in this episode of wrestling with her negative feelings and trying to keep it in versus letting it out. And she sees the picture of Hunter and Flapjack and wants to, try to cheer him up a little bit. And this is where things get kind of messy, right? Because these are where emotions are high and people are just trying to help each other and they're not necessarily knowing how to communicate with each other.
This does feel a bit like come on, Willow, read the room.
A little bit, right? Yeah, like his bird just died.
Just died, and they just handed me a picture of my best friend. Like, hey, here's the person you just lost. Have this fucking Polaroid, and I'm like, oh gee, Thanks.
Yeah. So it's kind of like it's just messy, right? Like Willow's trying to help, but Hunter's obviously going through it, and so yeah, it's just it's hard. Everyone's trying to do their best, right?
Indeed.
So Luce, she's like feeling her guilt, right? And this guilt is going to be really really important when it comes to like them pulling these memories out of her head, right? So she wants to find the spell that's going to teleport them to the skull of the Titan, which is of course the one that Philip used in her memory, right? So they can go
I
through the
really
memories.
love how that came back, I have to say.
Yeah, so I'm glad that this came back, and this to me felt like the best kind of way to actually justify the whole Hexide stuff being here, because like yeah, they needed a way to get to the skull, right? And this was like a good way to do that in my eyes.
It just felt structurally just neat. I
Yes.
liked it. I was not expecting that to come back.
Yeah. And I love this little callback too, right? Where they go, no schemes, no plot, no ruses, and definitely no shenanigans, right? Which is, of course, a callback to when they essentially said that exact same thing in season 1. Very, very cute.
Definitely no shenanigans.
Definitely no shenanigans.
They all say through their tired eyes and
Yeah. And then, of course, Camila has a cute little line here too, right? Like, I'm going to assume that those are clean. They're definitely not clean.
Nope.
All right, and then meanwhile, in the secret Grimwalker lab, we see Mr. Goopman making his way through his bodies,
making his way downtown,
making his way downtown, gooping fast.
Corpses pass,
and he's secret lab bound.
You know they did the Waluigi version of that.
Oh yeah. I've seen that.
That's all I could think of.
So good. All right. So Bellows, goops his way into one of the Grimwalker bodies, but obviously it's not, it's not done cooking yet. It's not quite finished baking in the oven. So it goops its way down and it's melted all over him. It's like a souffle that's fallen flat.
That's not how you want to describe a body.
No, it's really not.
Those aren't words you want to use to describe a body.
No, it's really not. And then he goops his way up the skull. I guess, like, where the heck was this, like, hidden lab that he was able to climb up the skull this quickly and this easily? I mean, maybe some time passed and he, like, gooped his way across the land before he got here.
Is the... No, wouldn't be, would it? Where is the castle?
The castle?
Where was Bellus's castle?
Yeah, I thought it was near the skull too.
Because if that's near the skull, which is what I thought, my assumption would be that his lab would have been under the castle somewhere.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Because there's that whole like crevice where Kikimora is like kicking around and all, and because we see loads and loads of old Golden Guard masks in that crevice. So my assumption was, because you've got the forest of masks in this episode as well, my assumption was that they were connected, and that was kind of our way of orienting ourselves.
That makes sense. Yeah, his the castle's where the heart is, according to Shadow, but I thought it was near the head. That's Magical said it was near the head, but Shadow says it was near the heart. Yeah, it's
home is where the heart is.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Get it?
But in any case, Bellows, he's able to climb the skull, goop his way up there with no problem whatsoever. We see Odalia, right? She's bossing the puppets around that we saw that earlier, her use the puppets to move the other puppets around, right? And we get this quick little line from her, right? Making a deal with that child was a waste of time, right? So kind of, she seems to be at least like, I don't know how much she's understanding what she did wrong or whatnot, but I don't know. It's just funny, right? It's funny to see her in this position.
She's a bingus.
She is a bingus. She doesn't
respond the way I feel like a normal person would respond to turning around and seeing this.
Right? Yeah. I'd be shitting and
shitting and pissing.
Exactly. Right. So Odalia is like, oh, me, right? And then Bellos is like,
No.
no, and he goops his way into Rain, right? So I do want to talk about this really briefly because this is a significant thing in this episode, right? So Bellos, I have to assume that he chose Rain. You asked the question earlier, right? Like, did Bellos really understand like who is Rain? Like, why did he choose Rain specifically, right? Out of like all the people here, right? And for one thing, like I think he definitely chose Rain over Odalia because the puppet probably is sturdier, right, than flesh. At least that's kind of how I have to assume that Bellows like made this decision, right? Because
Oh
he's like,
no. Dahlia has like thunder thighs.
that's true, that's true.
She's
Maybe
not
she
meant
could
to
have
look
handled
like
him.
she could kick a door down in one sweep.
Right. But we know that Bellows kind of like eats alive the things that he possesses, right? Like we saw that when he kind of ate those deer in the human realm, and then we saw Hunter with all those scars afterwards. We know that he
So
was obviously
what
harmed
you're
by.
saying is he doesn't want to deprive the world of those thighs.
Exactly. He doesn't want to ruin those thick thighs.
Are we bad people?
Yeah, we probably are. But yeah, I don't think that Bellows specifically like chose Rain thinking like, oh, this is Rain. This was my previous coven head. I'm gonna like possess them or whatever. I think he probably just thought like, oh, this is a moving body that is made of material that's more sturdy than human flesh or witch flesh, I guess, right? So that's why I think that that's why I think Bellows chose Rain. But why did the writers choose Rain was kind of my question that I was like kind of asking myself, because to me, the first time I watched the special and I was starting to see people's reactions to the special, right? This moment felt like it was made to garner this reaction that was like, no, why didn't you pick Odalia? Why did you have to choose Rain? Right? Like that's kind of what the reaction was to this moment, right? Like we hate Odalia, we love Rain. Why did you do this to me? Like how could you do this to me, right? Like how could you choose Rain over Odalia, who we would have loved to see getting punished, right? And to me, like it just felt like a little, I don't want to say emotionally manipulative because I don't really like using that kind of criticism for writing in that kind of way, but it just felt a little cheap, like, oh, Rain is a character that we're supposed to love, and so by putting them in danger, like it kind of creates this reaction, right? And so I just felt a little like cheap to me. It felt like it wasn't necessarily earned, like that reaction of feeling like scared for Rain wasn't necessarily earned in my eyes, right? So to me, like that was my kind of, I don't want to say criticism, but it just felt a little off to me. Like I didn't necessarily like that choice, but I kind of changed my mind on that as I was sitting on it and thinking about it and kind of trying to understand like maybe why this choice could have been made other than just like the emotional reaction, right? And I was kind of thinking back to Rain's role in the story thus far, and now that I've had kind of time to think about it, I actually kind of like this connection that I've made a lot. So Rain is a character that from the beginning of the show, once we get introduced to them, we learn that they're someone who is working on the inside to take Bellows down, right? They are like working from within the system to figure out a way to defeat Bellows. And now this is kind of like a reflection of that, right? Now Bellows is the one inside Rain, working from the inside, trying to take Rain down.
You heard it here first, folks. Bellows is the one inside Rain.
You heard it here.
Maybe that's what's really going on. Like maybe Bellows was like, damn, this one's kind of hot.
This one's kind of hot. I kind of want to be in this one. But no, yeah, now that I've had a little bit of time to think about it and why the writers could have done this, I do think it is kind of like an inverse of Rain's role in the story thus far, right? So I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, maybe I'm thinking too much about it, but that's kind of the way that I decided to interpret this choice to make myself like it a lot more.
I didn't mind it so much. Like my first thought was kind of wondering, like, does Bellows know about the Rain Eater connection? That was the first thing I asked. And we don't know that. Like, there's no way for us to know that right now.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me though.
That's fair.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, I would have gone with Darius personally. I would have wanted that cut bod.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
Also,
you're
Rain
gonna
kind of
be
gets a little bit more of a mullet now that like they're possessed by Bellows, and I gotta say, it kind of suits them. I kind of like the mullet on Rain.
See, that's what you and I are going to disagree. We've disagreed on the topic of mullets before, and this, mullets may be the thing that finally kills our friendship. And
That's fair. I like
the topic of
mullets.
mullets may put one of us at the end of a blade. I will never ever be pro mullet. I think mullets are almost universally hated for a reason, and it's that they're ugly and they look bad. And like Dana Terrace clearly loves mullets because she will take any opportunity to give a character a fucking mullet.
I feel like mullets are just
Emily has a
so.
mullet. Hunter has a mullet.
They're so non-binary to me. I don't know why. They just give me non-binary vibes.
Well, yeah, but the thing that I'll say to that is I associate mullets with rednecks, with the 80s. And
We're reclaiming it. We're reclaiming mullets. We're making them queer. We're queering mullets.
To me, the undercut is the most non-binary thing. To me, that's as gay as it gets.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! All right, agree to disagree. This will be the biggest fight that Tom and I ever have.
Mullets make me think of Billy Ray Cyrus, and if I could go the rest of my life without ever thinking about Billy Ray Cyrus, I would take that. I would take that in a second. Mullets are bad, and if you like mullets, then I just enjoy being wrong. Is all I can say.
I'm happy to be wrong then. All right, I want to
chat pro mullets or
yeah. Maybe we should get a poll going again. How do we feel about mullets? Wait, let me see if I can actually.
I feel like people are going to vote against me because they don't like me.
I don't know how to do a poll. Oh, start a poll. There we go. How do we feel about mullets?
I implore you all to look at the facts, okay? And the facts are the 80s was a disaster for fashion, and mullets are no different.
All right, guys. I've created a poll. Let us know how you feel about mullets. All right. So I do want to talk about this scene, though. This scene was probably actually one of my favorite scenes in the special.
This is unacceptable. 75% people think that. Come on, guys. I'm sorry. This guy.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being on my side.
I can't believe this. This is assassination.
You've been ousted, Tom. I'm sorry.
I'm being assassinated. Your audience are biased towards you. This is a kangaroo court. It's kangaroo court.
It is. I'm sorry you're going through this.
I demand a retrial.
So stop the count. The election is rigged. Anyway. Enough about mullets, guys. Enough about mullets. Thank you all for being on my side, but I appreciate you. I do really want to talk about this scene because this is probably my favorite scene in the special, just because of the subtlety of it. There's a lot of subtlety in the scene that I really like in terms of Luce's character arc that we see throughout this special, right? The her coming to terms with her guilt and her kind of understanding like who she wants to be and where she wants to be, right? That's kind of where Luce is going in this arc, and what Camila's role in that arc is, and her arc as well too, right? Her coming to terms with her mistakes that she made in the past, her mistakes that she made with her daughter, right? And I feel like this scene is really crucial for both of those characters, and I absolutely love the way that they did this. And I mentioned before that like coming back to Hexside felt a little bit useless to me, right? Like there was really no point in us coming back to Hexside other than to have like these character moments. But I think like this was like a really wonderful scene and like kind of justifies coming back to Hexside for me, because like to get to see this character interaction between Luce and Camila done through the pictures is something I really, really liked, and something I really appreciated in this special a lot. So we see these photos, right, that Luce has pulled out of her head, and she has this line in a little bit, right, where she says like the pictures are so clear, like they're coming out so clear. And we learned in the season 1 episode that the pictures come out clearer, the stronger that the emotion is that is associated with them, right? And in all of these pictures that we're seeing of Luce, in all of these pictures that we're seeing of Luce, she is feeling immense guilt, right? And we know that this is like the biggest emotion that she's feeling throughout this entire special, right? So I love all these moments that we're seeing throughout the entire show, you know, calling back to all these moments of Luce making these mistakes, right? Luce considering her coming to the Boiling Isles as one of her biggest mistakes, right? And then we see the episode where she stole the training wand from Amity, right? And we see how she feels guilty about that. And then we see the end of the season 1, the finale of season 1, right? Where Ida was captured by Bellows, right? And almost got petrified. So we see that moment. And then we see the moment, right, from yesterday's lie with Camila and Luce, right? And Camila crying and Luce feeling guilty about having left her mom behind, right? And then, of course, the big one being Philip and Bellows, right? Teaching him the light glyph. That's something that Luce essentially completely blames herself for, right? Like she essentially thinks that teaching Philip the light glyph is what set this entire thing into motion, right? So she has immense guilt about that. And then of course the whole episode of Hollow Mind and realizing that Bellows was the one that she's been helping this whole time.
That episode was so good.
Yeah, that episode was really, really, really good.
It's kind of a story just about a girl who kind of hates herself.
yeah, exactly, right? Absolutely. And then of course this last one being letting go of King, right? Letting go of King to be trapped with the Collector. So yeah, a lot of guilt that Luce is feeling here, right? A lot of these things that she's kind of stuck on herself, right? That she's blaming herself for throughout the entire series. And
when she gets a look at Camila gets a look at the
yes,
weird, what is that?
The Grom called? One, yeah.
The Grom creature. Is the creature called Grom?
It's like Grometheus or something, yeah.
Prometheus, yeah.
so that's a really important moment for Luce and Camila, right? Because like Camila notices that, she sees that moment, and like this is something that I actually really wanted ever since the Grom episode, right? Like I wanted Camila to see the effect that she had on Luce, right? Like and I love that like we didn't even need like dialogue in this moment, right? Like Camila just sees this photo of her in this monstrous form, and like she doesn't even need to like understand the context of like what's happening in this photo to understand that like this is because she made a mistake, right? Like Camila understands that she's made these mistakes as well with Luce, and I really love this moment. Like this frame is probably like one of my favorite. I'm gonna take away the overlay for a second.
It's very it's like she looks at herself as a Dark Souls boss.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, right, exactly. But this frame, this moment of Camila just like noticing the mistakes that she's made and the way that her mistakes have caused Luce to internalize this guilt, right? Like I don't know, I really love it. I really love this mother-daughter relationship. I really love the portrayal of their relationship throughout the show, and it's one of my favorite like parental child relationships that's like ever been portrayed in a show before. Like it's so beautiful, and it's so touching.
Can you believe that people at one point in time were like, she's a bad mom?
They're still fucking saying that, bro. They're still saying that Camila's a bad mom. And it's so crazy to me that people would say that, because
I want to beat their ass.
She's such a great mom. She's so loving and so caring, and she's so sweet and so and obviously not until the end of this, right? But she becomes so understanding, and it's really like that's her arc, right? Like it's an arc of her to understand, and it's also like she has to forgive herself too, right? Like she's made all these mistakes that not even like related to Luce, right? Like she has guilt of like her own mistakes, of her own life, of her own doing, and the parallel that we get right later on when Camila admits her mistakes to Luce and is able to kind of relieve her guilt, and in a way of Camila being kind to herself, leads Luz to being kind to herself and forgiving herself. So in a way, like, they forgive each other and they're able to forgive themselves. And it's really beautiful. I really love it. And it's absolutely my favorite part of the special of the season 3 is just the way that Camila and Luz's relationship has been written as like parallel arcs and in ways that they support each other as well. It's just so well done. And I absolutely love it.
And I like that Camila actually emotionally behaves like an adult.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Where like she's not like holding herself over the coals for the mistakes she's made, because that doesn't actually get her anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because she's an adult, right? She understands that she can't hold herself over the coals the way that Luz is, right? That's the lesson that Luz has to kind of learn through seeing Camila do it, right? Don't want to have an opinion about the hairstyles. That's fair. Conflicted because the two hottest gargoyles, Goliath and Demona, in the Gargoyles cartoon have mullets. That's funny. So yeah, sorry, Tom. You just have to accept the fact that mullets are sexy.
I hate to break it to you, but we're currently tied.
Oh, are we?
So, like, I'm just saying, there's a strong case to be made that mullets are really bad. It depends on what you associate them with. Like, you clearly haven't developed the associations I have with mullets.
Yes, that is true. I don't think about rednecks necessarily, yeah.
Because the thing is, you just don't get mullets in the UK.
That's
right?
true.
You just
don't
get them here. Like, they were a thing in the 80s with Wham. Like, but we just don't get them here. Our exposure to mullets is through bad shit. Like, it used to be really popular in the UK. You'd get these internet posts called Walmart people, because we don't have Walmart here. We have Asda, which is owned by the Walmart company. But like, we don't have Walmart, which sells like a load of stuff that really shouldn't belong in a superstore, like guns and knives.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely.
And like, people would take photos, like candid photos of just the weirdest rednecks they found. It's unethical. It's like super unethical to like take pictures of people without their consent.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Dollars to Donuts, like 9 times out of 10, they had mullets and they did not look good. They made them look real bad.
Well, it sounds like you just need to hang around more non-binary people and sexy gargoyles.
I've seen gargoyles, and I'm sorry to say that my love of gargoyles does not change my opinion about mullets. I still think mullets are a style. Anything from the 80s.
Was it a sexy gargoyle though? That's the real question.
I've seen the show Gargoyles. That's what they're talking about.
I'm joking. Yes. I agree with Shadow. They have the capacity to be extremely bad, but when they're good, they're really good. That's a good way to put it. Yes.
I like Arvin. He gets
there we go. Arvin gets a pass. Yeah.
He's got the bangs, he's got the
he's got the swoopy bangs, yeah. Oh my god, too funny. All right,
I just wish that Dana Terrace wouldn't give all of the characters mullets, like 1 or 2 for sure. Not all of them, please.
She definitely has a bias towards the mullets.
Like, give him something, anything else. I don't care. Just
I will say, and I've said this on stream before. I feel like Rain is not that hot in the actual proper Owl House show. Like, in the Owl House style, like, I don't think Rain is that attractive. But when Dana Terrace draws Rain, like, in her style, I'm just like, oh my god, Dana, thank you. Like, Rain is so freaking attractive when Dana draws them. I like don't understand how they like became so dorky when they got translated to the Owl House style.
To be honest, when Dana Terrace draws literally anyone,
they become so much more beautiful. Yeah.
I want Dana Terrace to draw me so I can finally feel good about myself.
Oh my gosh, right. Oh my gosh. I feel that.
But then there are characters who are just like hot regardless. Like,
right.
You'd struggle to make Darius.
Exactly. Darius is just always hot. Oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. Glad we're at least on the same page with that. So Willow, she's trying to do the right thing. She's trying to be nice. She's trying to cheer Hunter up, right? And so she gives him the photo of Flapjack and Hunter, which is just a very sweet, cute photo, right? And Gus is trying to help as well, right? Like, we're all gonna miss him, and we know that he loved you, right? But it's like, this is a very sweet sentiment, but it's just like, it's very hard to tell this to someone who literally, like, less than 24 hours ago just lost like their first friend, right?
Read
So
the room, Willow, please.
yeah, like please read the room a little bit. But yeah, she's trying, right? We know that she's trying, which is and we know that like she's also trying within the scope of like her understanding of how to handle emotions, right? Like she's Willow is like a really good friend, right? Like she's always going to be willing to have that shoulder to let other people cry on. But for her, like she doesn't quite understand herself, right? How to navigate negative emotions, right? Other than like the breathing trick that her dad's taught her, right? Like she can understand like anxiety, I feel like a little bit, but she doesn't quite understand until like the end of this episode, right? How to navigate like these negative emotions, right? So she's kind of operating under this understanding of like, hold it in, right? And like make our way through, power our way through, right? So she kind of imparts that understanding of pain and that wisdom to Hunter with this, right? Like, oh, like if you just remember the good times, right? And remember that he loved you, like you can power through, you can power through too, right? And that's kind of at least how I understand like why Willow would kind of do this, right? Because she herself doesn't quite have an understanding of how to navigate a situation like this.
Yeah. It's complicated though, isn't it? Because how many contemporary cartoons actually take a meaningful look at loss?
Yeah, yeah.
And the answer is very few, because I don't think most people know how to take a look at loss. And
Yeah.
loss is really complicated. How do you tell somebody how to feel about loss, you know?
Yeah,
Other
yeah.
than the stupid comic, but like
No, stop.
yeah, like what is a person supposed to say to make that better?
Yeah, yeah. And also like I think what Willow is also trying to do here, right, is kind of remind Hunter that they love him, right? Like Hunter is also going through like this fear of, oh, they just found out I'm a Grimwalker and they're gonna hate me because of that, right? So Willow also using this flyer derby photo to reassure him that like you are one of us, right? Like we love you and we care about you. You're part of the team, right? And so kind of trying to remind him of that too.
I
And
think does
Hunter,
really
right, because he is like this completely socially inept, like like doesn't know how to talk about his feelings babby. He doesn't like know how to respond to that, right? And because he doesn't know how to respond to that, like Willow interprets that as like her doing something wrong, right? Like Hunter understands that this is a really sweet gesture, but because he's going through it, he doesn't know how to respond, right? And that's what kind of leads to this like messy situation between them. But I really like the way that it's handled, right? Because like it's very grounded to me, right? Like everyone is hurting, and when everyone is hurting, like it's hard to communicate, right? It's hard to express ourselves. And so I really like the way that like the Willow and Hunter aspect of this was handled. I will admit that I feel like Gus could have been handled a little bit better. Um like I
You just
understand.
described Cowboy Bebop in a sentence. When everyone's hurting, no one knows how to communicate.
Right, yeah, no, exactly, right? Like I feel like Gus could have gotten a little bit more time. Like I felt like Gus's stuff was a little bit rushed in this episode, right? Like we get this moment here, right, where um you know, Hunter is like blaming himself like for not being honest about the Grimwalker stuff, and then now Gus, you know, saying like, how is this your fault? It's actually my fault, right? Like Gus is now taking the blame onto him by saying like, I knew about it, so I should have said something, right? And this is something that we speculated for a while, right? We talked a lot about this during the first special about Gus knowing the truth about Hunter, about understanding already that he is a Grimwalker, and him trying to kind of like, you know, drop these hints to get Hunter to open up himself. And we get this confirmation here, right? I've known since the day of Unity, but I don't know, like in my eyes, this was kind of glossed over a little quickly, and I would have liked to get.
It does go. It feels like a bigger reveal than it gets.
Yeah, like because we got so many hints, right, throughout the last special that Gus like knew, and I thought it was gonna build to a little bit more, but we just kind of get this moment where like Gus is like, I was waiting for you to bring it up. Now we got to go help Willow, right? Like we immediately shift gears and like go help Willow. Like it just felt too rushed to me. I would have liked to.
Died on his way back to his home planet. You don't get that joke. You
No,
don't get that joke.
I don't.
Someone in
I'm
the
sorry.
chat will get it. Someone in the chat will get it.
Chat will get it. That's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I would have wished that like the Gus and Hunter stuff could have gotten fleshed out a little bit more. I would have liked a little bit more time with this.
Yeah, someone's just got to tell Hunter to do what the rest of us do and just take all those feelings and just push them down.
Oh my gosh.
Far as they'll fit.
No, that's the opposite of what we're trying to learn here, Tom.
Far as they'll fit. Don't ever think about them again. Like a healthy, responsible adult.
There we go. Shadow says, I love this moment so much. As someone who struggles to really express their emotions in the moment, poor Hunter just doesn't know how to react. Yeah, exactly right. Hunter is just this repressed, socially inept, doesn't know how to deal with his emotions Bab, who, and like Hunter throughout his entire life, right, has like been taught to repress his emotions, right? Like his fear of Belos, his anxiety over not being good enough, right? Like those are all things that he is had to hide because of like fear of retaliation, right? And so like he has to learn himself too, right? Like how to be emotionally vulnerable and how to open himself up to people. And that's something that like that's his arc, right, throughout this episode of how to open himself up to people.
Step 1, get a dog.
Yeah.
Step 2, profit.
If Hunter should get a new palisman, and if it's not a wolf, I'm gonna be kind of sad.
It's just Maeve.
It's just Maeve. Oh my gosh, it's just Maeve. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I don't know. That was another little gripe of the episode, is I wish the Gus stuff could have gotten fleshed out a little bit more.
So many characters, so little time.
Exactly, right, exactly. I think we'll probably we have quite a bit to do here. We'll try to maybe do one more scene, and then
one more scene sounds good.
One more scene sounds good, right? So okay, so let's talk about this Basha and Willow scene, right? So this is where I feel like I kind of disagreed with some people, right? So some people thought that Basha was like completely unnecessary in this episode, or like they didn't want Basha in this episode at all. This is part of why I liked having Basha in this episode, right? Because again, like she is here to sort of serve as a point of reference to show how far Willow has come, right? And I also like that we are getting this little bit of backstory with Basha. We're kind of fleshing her out a little bit. She's becoming a little bit more humanized. You know, there's a lot of parallels here actually, right? Where, you know, Basha says like leading isn't easy. You can't show weakness. People like you have to do all these things to be a leader, right? Like everyone falls apart if you show weakness, right? And we know that like Basha is actually going through this struggle with her leadership, right? Like she is struggling with the fact that her teammates, her friends got turned into puppets, and she is repressing that, like whatever she's feeling, right? Whether it's guilt, whether it's fear, whether it's worry, she's like not allowing herself to feel those things because she feels that that's the way to be a leader, right? And so it's really interesting to me that like Basha kind of falls apart in this episode, and then Willow has to kind of do the opposite, right? Of like Basha tries to push away her emotions and then she falls apart, whereas Willow has to accept her emotions in order to like rebuild herself and keep herself together, right? So it's an interesting juxtaposition between these two characters.
Indeed. It's not like Basha serves no purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
I am still anti-Basha this episode, though.
That's fair.
On a matter of principle, it's not like I'm under the illusion that Basha serves no purpose. I just don't like that Basha got more screen time than Ida. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that I definitely do disagree with. Like, I like that we had Basha in this episode. I like what they did with Basha until the end. I will say until the very end, I like what they did with Basha. But I do completely agree with that. It is ridiculous that Basha got more screen time than Ida in this episode.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And now that Shadow has said it in the chat, I'm thinking we might go to 5 streams as well, because we have a lot to say about these last few scenes.
And we also spent a very reasonable amount of time talking about mullets.
Yes, that's true. And that was necessary. That was
It's
absolutely necessary.
necessary. I think, you know, some things need to be said. The mullet war rages on. Like, we will never truly know. It just
Yeah.
sat at 50-50 this whole time. We'll
Exactly.
never really know.
Exactly.
Um,
But yeah, so even though Basha was being kind of humanized in this episode, I do like that Willow was not the one to kind of show Basha that softness, right? Like Willow has been treated like shit by Basha for decades, right? Like for so many years now at this point. And so I do like that Willow stands up for herself with Basha here, right? Like she doesn't try to hear her out. She doesn't necessarily feel bad for Basha, because of all the characters to feel bad for Basha, Willow is like the least what's the word I'm looking for? Like she's the most deserving of not forgiving Basha in my eyes.
yeah, I kind of wanted her to beat Bosch's ass.
Yeah, I wanted her to kick her ass though. Yeah, definitely. But of course, you know, Kikimura's there and takes Willow. What's this next part? Yeah, so this is a important thing too, right? Where Amity's like, you know, once we get our families back, you know, at least we'll all be together, right? And then Luce doesn't answer that, right? She's like, Amity, I have to tell you something, but of course she doesn't get to say what she wants to say because she gets cut off by freaking Kikimura.
Friggin' Kiki Miki.
Friggin' Kiki Miki.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, so this whole thing was just kind of like, yeah, when Luce was like, oh, not you, I was like, yep, same. I feel exactly the same.
Rolling our eyes.
Roll our eyes at Kikimura.
Like, take the L already, okay?
Exactly. Yeah, so this whole like conflict, this whole fight with Basha and Kikimura just felt very unnecessary to me. I was just kind of like, okay, this is happening.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the collector and rain scene, and that'll be the end. That'll be the last thing we do for today. I did like this visual. I like the visual of the goop, the bellow scoop coming down as like a teardrop on Rain's face and then like kind of wiping away,
it's
right?
It's a darkened version of what we saw earlier with Lilith.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, that's so true. I didn't even make that connection. That's really true. I like that a lot.
This is why I'm here. I'm here to be a genius.
The big brain genius. So, you know, Bellows floats his way down to the collector, and at first he's trying to possess the collector, right? Which it's interesting, right? It's kind of we've seen that Bellows like absorbs magic, right? Like through the palisman. So I guess he's trying to do the same thing to the collector he's trying to like absorb his power, which is creepy, super creepy, right?
Is that what he's doing?
I don't know. At least that's kind of what I assumed he's doing.
Because I don't know if I'm misremembering. I might be Mandela affecting myself here. I thought it looks like he was trying to use Rain's body as like a halfway house and was trying to possess the collector's body.
Maybe that's what. I mean, it's whatever he was doing. He didn't succeed, right?
Could you give me a time code for this bit?
Yeah, it's like 33:30-ish.
33:30-ish. Let's have a look. He's walking down the
shadow. Yeah, that is accurate. They really love the glasses reflection in this show, right?
Doing a little goop. It's very Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah, but it also like it's a very
his goop is coming out of his gross bellowsiness, and that's how he possesses people, is through the goop, like passing the goop. Right. So I think he's trying to possess the collector. That's what I think is happening there.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah. But of course he's stopped, right? The collector wraps him up in the blanket. Yeah.
That sounds so cute, doesn't it?
He just wraps him in the blanket.
Wraps him up in a little blankie.
Yeah. Okay. Shadow says assume trying to possess the collector. Yeah, that's probably what was happening. you're not supposed to move on your own, right? But then the collector, the collector is suspicious, right? Like, how did you break the spell? You're not supposed to move. But Belos in Rain's body is like, nope, the spell's still working. I'm still a puppet. But like uses that manipulation, right? Like, again, it was the power of your kindness that brought me to life, right? Like that flattery, that Machiavellian kind of manipulation that Belos is really good at, right?
I really just want someone in the show to not fall for Belos's manipulation.
Yeah, right? Like,
I want someone to just be like, I don't know, man, you sound hella evil.
Right? Yeah, like, I know the collector is supposed to be a kid. I know that they're supposed to be easily manipulated and all that, but like, I think it is important that the collector is a child, right? Because if this was like an older collector, that they could have just been like, no, that's not how the spell fucking works. You're obviously like possessing my puppet or whatever, right? But because the collector is a child, I feel like that leads to easier manipulation, right?
I can't help but think about the bit at the end of Over the Garden Wall between Wirt and the Beast, when Wirt is like, nah, I'm not doing that. That sounds dumb. I'm not gonna like wander around the woods for the rest of my life with a lantern, you fuckwit.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the words that he says. Those are the exact lines. I'm really surprised they got the word fuckwit into the Cartoon Network.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. They say that you can drop one fuck in the show.
That's the S&P standards.
Exactly.
You get one fuck in the entire series, so make it count. And I think they made it count. I think so.
I think so.
That was a fun bit. It's my favorite word line.
Yeah. So this whole thing with Kikimora is just was so annoying to me, right? Especially when Luz was like, "Are you working for the collector?" And then Kikimora was just like, "No, I'm just doing my own thing." Like, that's what made it kind of add the salt to the wound of like, wow, this is really just like pointless, isn't it? Like, even if Kikimora had just been like, yeah, I'm doing this for the collector, he's not going to turn me into a puppet, like that would have at least like tied it to the story or something, right? I don't know, maybe people disagree with me on Kikimora, but I just felt like it was just so pointless to have her in the episode and just annoying to me. I don't know.
Poor Kiki Miki.
Poor Kiki Miki. But anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here for today. We still have quite a ways to go. So yeah, I'm thinking now at this point we might even go to 5 streams. But we have a lot to say, and we've got time. The next special isn't coming out until like April, so we've got plenty of time to talk about stuff. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that I am planning to like go through the old streams and go through the VODs that are on, because the way that YouTube works, right? It's like when you go to my channel, there's like a video tab and there's a live tab. So like if you go to the live tab, that's where you'll find all of the VODs for the past streams. But YouTube has a way to kind of edit those VODs within YouTube itself, and you can like republish it as a video. So just a heads up that I'm going to be kind of doing that for the past streams. So I just want to try to see just a little experiment to see if like more people will watch it as a video versus like a live VOD. I'm just a little curious to see how that'll work. So just a heads up that those videos are going to be coming up on the channel in the near future, and don't get surprised, don't be weirded out or anything if you feel like you've watched it already before. Especially for all of you guys who are watching live, like, you guys are the best, you guys are awesome. No pressure at all to watch the VODs once they are republished, because you all are already here, so there's really no need. But just a heads up that that's going to be happening, and don't be too weirded out when you start to see like repeat stuff on the channel. I'm just trying my best to make the most out of our discussions. I want people to see it. I feel like we have really good discussions here, and it's kind of a shame that
we talk about the important stuff here,
like mullets and asses and thighs.
That's what matters.
And these are discussions that I feel like are like people might enjoy, right? And people might want to watch. And so because they're kind of being hidden away in the live tab, I want to give people that chance to watch them if they want to. So just a heads up that that's going to be coming up in the near future. I'm also kind of working on videos again, like scripts and stuff like that. So I'm really hoping in the near future we can get some
Good.
more videos happening, because I've been kind of falling behind on that as well. Tom is working on an awesome video right now, though. I'm really excited to see your Steven Universe video that'll be on your channel in the near future.
I don't know about near future. There's a lot to talk about.
In the near future, meaning sometime this year.
It'll be this year, but I'm going full H Bomber guy on this one.
Hell yeah,
We're
hell
gonna
yeah.
have another One Piece video out pretty soon that Ed's working on.
Nice, nice.
But we might, like, I think Ed's planning on doing a Fire Emblem video as well. Might be one of the few times when Ed puts out 2 videos before I put out another one.
Wow, wow.
Because I don't know, I'm also working on another song cover, so there might be another song cover.
Oh
but,
yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for your song cover. It's gonna be so good.
But yeah, I feel like there's so much that's not said about Steven Universe that needs to be said by someone, and that someone is me.
You're gonna do it.
People better be ready.
Yeah, so if you're not subscribed to the Curmudgeon Media channel already, make sure that you are subscribed. Yeah, and Ed is working on that Fire Emblem and One Piece, those videos as well. So really exciting stuff coming. Looking forward to it. What else? Oh, I have a blog now. I don't know if you guys know. I'm like starting to kind of write little blog posts just for stuff that I feel like doesn't necessarily warrant a full video. It's a Substack. So if you just go to wait, I don't actually remember. I'll post it in the Discord. I don't remember what the URL is. So I'll post it in the Discord later. But yeah, it would be really cool if you guys are interested in seeing more stuff from me. Yes, mullet, asses, and thighs are the name of your aerobics workout tape. That's really funny, Robin. Those are the important discussions that we have here.
Your 80s fitness video.
Exactly. Oh
I can like hear the soundtrack to that video in my head.
It's got lots of like synth and
but it's not like good synth, it's really nasty synth.
Nasty synth.
It's not like Vangelis, it's crap.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap it up here for today. Do you have anything else actually before we go, Tom?
I don't think so. Check out my Twitter for Owl House fan art.
Oh yeah. Oh, I loved your freaking collector fan art that you did. It was so cute.
Oh yeah, like 1,000 people liked my stupid Scrunkly Scrimblow.
The Scrunkly
Scrimblow. 1,000 people looked at that and they were like, I want to feed this Scrunkly Scrimblow.
Yes, good. As they should.
Which is valid.
Yeah. So check out Tom's art, check out Tom's channel, check out my stuff. Y'all know where to find me if you need me. All right, y'all. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful week. We'll be back next week to continue discussing the season 3 special. Yeah, I'm thinking most likely at this point it'll be 2 more streams, so we will see you then. And thanks so much for hanging out again, everyone. Stay safe and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.